Halo Combat Evolved is back, and after spending the first 2 hours with it, I can honestly say it reminded me of exactly why Halo became one of the greatest shooters ever made. The second that iconic Halo theme kicked in, instant goosebumps. So today, let's talk about whether Halo still holds up in 2026. Hey everyone, I'm Chris, and welcome to my very first episode of RareCandyChris Reviews, where I jump into the latest releases, remasters, and classics to tell you whether I think they're worth your time. Now before we jump in, this is not a full review. I've only played the first couple of hours, so these are just simply my first impressions. Let's get into it. The first 5 or 10 minutes completely surprised me. I don't play a ton of first-person shooters these days, so I wasn't expecting Halo to pull me in so quickly, but the second that music started, man, I was smiling. It wasn't just nostalgia, it was excitement, it was anticipation, it was happiness. It reminded me why the franchise became so iconic in the first place. Then, the updated visuals hit. Everything looks gorgeous. It's still the Halo I remember growing up with, but it finally has a fresh coat of paint. Once the nostalgia wore off, it was time to see if Halo was actually still fun to play. Thankfully, it absolutely is. Combat is just as fast-paced, chaotic, and satisfying as I remembered. Every encounter had me pushing forward saying, alright, just one more room. I also really liked some of the quality of life improvements. Sprinting feels like such a natural addition that it almost feels strange not having it in the original. Being able to store overshields and active camo for later, instead of activating them immediately, gives you a little more strategy. I also really enjoyed being able to equip the energy sword and the SMG. This adds a little more variety to the weapons as well. Everything feels smoother, but still true to its roots. And honestly, I think this game would be even better with a group of friends. If there's one thing that completely steals the show, it's the soundtrack. Every single time that Halo theme kicks in, you just want to go all out. The sound design is exactly how I remembered it. The elite battle cries, the grunts making ridiculous comments, the explosions, the weapons, it all sounds fantastic. Then you have the environments. One moment you're fighting through a space station, the next you're exploring a beautiful mountain landscape, then suddenly you're inside of a massive alien structure with gravity lifts. Every area feels different, every level has its own personality. I think that's one of the biggest reasons Halo has stayed so memorable after all of these years. Now I do have to admit, I'm a little biased here. I've played Halo before, and I already know the story and the lore. So characters like Cortana, Johnson, and Captain Keyes already mean something to me. If I were playing completely blind, I don't think I'd be emotionally attached after only 2 hours. The opening doesn't spend a ton of time building those relationships, but because I already know where the story goes, I loved every second of seeing these characters again. Now, as much as I've enjoyed my time with Halo, it isn't perfect. My biggest criticism is that the remaster plays things very safe. The graphics are beautiful, the gameplay improvements are great, but the actual levels feel almost identical to the original. I would have loved to see a few expanded combat areas, maybe a couple of new rooms, maybe a few new surprises for returning players. Enemy variety also felt very similar to the original release. Don't get me wrong, I understand that this is a remaster, not a remake. I just think that this was a missed opportunity to make the experience feel even bigger. If you've ever played Halo before, this is an easy recommendation. If you're a longtime Halo fan, I think you'll absolutely love revisiting it. And if you're simply looking for a fun FPS campaign that you can play solo or with friends over a weekend, Halo is still one of the best. The pacing is excellent, the gameplay still holds up incredibly well, and honestly, if I didn't have work the next day, I would have continued playing. So after spending about 2 hours with Halo, I'm giving it 7 rare candies out of 10. For me, it just really comes down to the remaster playing things a little too safe. I absolutely loved revisiting Halo. The music is phenomenal, the gameplay is just as addictive as ever, the graphics look fantastic, but I couldn't help wishing they took a few more risks by expanding some levels or adding a little more variety for returning players. That said, This is an easy recommendation for me. If you're a Halo fan, I think you'll have an absolute blast, and if you've never experienced Halo before, there's never been a better time to jump in. If you enjoyed this review, I'd really appreciate a like and a subscribe. It helps the channel more than you know. And please let me know in the comments what you would rate Halo after the first couple of hours. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next RareCandyChris review.